Welcome back to Nick and Dave Unplugged. I know we have been off the radar for a good bit here. We've had a lot of things happening. Had some additions to the family, so we finally kind of got back into a routine here, but we're here to let you know that the podcast is going to be going strong again. We have no plans of stopping. We got a couple episodes in the chute that we plan to drop here soon. Some good ideas that we're thinking of doing over on the Patreon for a little bit of content. And so we appreciate y'all for staying tuned and being patient, but we're full steam ahead again.
Yeah, definitely some new additions to the family. There's 3 kids between the 2 of us, so you can crunch the numbers on that one if you're at home. And our next guest will be our buddy, Kevin Moore, who was a sergeant in the Marines. You know, we knew him, or we still know him, thankfully, but we met him, for me, it was over 10 years ago now. And he's going to be a great guest. And what we're trying to do is set up the Patreon a little bit better to where people can go in there and get involved with the show. And we'll have a spot in the comment section where, we announce a little sneak peek of who's coming next. And the people that are in there can request a question or a comment or whatever you feel like saying to the person, and we'll announce it. We'll let them know. And with that, on the Patreon, we like to give a special shout out and a thank you to Michael Cece, who has been a 4-month member with us from the very beginning, our first supporter. And
shout out Cece.
We're going to get him on soon for an interview, probably. And, see if he can possibly find some employment within the show. We're looking to expand now that we've been getting some support, and we're really excited about it. We want to keep this thing going. It's just been busy. There's been a hurricane. Babies are coming left and right. That's been trouble with Kevin coming up, our next guest. If you count him, there's 8 babies between all of us, and then you really have to crunch the numbers.
Yeah, dude. How was that hurricane over there for you? I know you guys weren't expecting anything up there in the Carolinas.
I forgot to tell you, or I meant to tell you about this. I was kind of saving it for the podcast, but so it was, it was Friday night. Everything got all fucked up, and I showed you some pictures. Some trees fell in the yard. Nothing that bad, but it was Saturday morning. The power's out, and there's trees down everywhere. Power lines are down everywhere, and this car comes ripping into my driveway. And Lauren was out in the living room, and she's like, Dave. She said, Dave, there's this old man coming up to the door. And I kind of look out the window.
He's got a shotgun.
Yeah, I thought he might be looking for food or something. I was going to tell him to fuck off. But no, I glance out the window, and I see someone kind of coming up the sidewalk with a cane. And so I open the door. The dogs are barking. The babies are trying to, we're trying to keep the babies asleep, and the dogs start barking. So I go out the front door so that they don't knock or anything and make it worse.
Yeah.
And it ended up being an old woman. It was difficult to tell at first glance from out the window, but it was this old woman. And the first thing she says is, we had a tree limb that had fallen out into the road. It was sticking out into the road a little bit, but it wasn't blocking the road.
Yeah.
It was just laying in the street. And the first thing she says is, I was just coming to see if anyone was going to clean this up. And I'm like, there was just a pause, and we're just staring at each other. And I was like, who are you? And she said, "I'm the president." And I was just like, dude, we have been up all night. Just, we were hiding in the center of the house because we thought trees were going to hit us. There's no electricity, And I was so, I didn't like it felt unreal that this person was questioning it. And I was just like, the president of what? And she said, the homeowners association. And she started saying something about like, we try to keep it looking nice around here. And I was, dude,
Did you not realize there's a fucking hurricane that just hit?
I was in shock.
Dude, that is insane.
I was
the
like,
homeowners association people are no joke with that shit.
well, dude, I'm about to infiltrate it, and I'm taking this lady down. I was so pissed about it. Like, I mean, I wasn't rude. Like, maybe I was a little bit rude, but I was pissed. I was like, look, I've been up. I got up early as soon as the storm stopped, I started clearing. There was a tree that fell on our back deck. We couldn't get out the back door, so I had to go out the front door, go around there, and start cutting up this tree. And I was like, lady, I've been clearing a tree that was on our house. We have, 2 newborns inside. There's no electricity. Like, what? I was like, I'll get to it. Like, but then it was one of those things where I was so caught off guard where I wasn't like, I just didn't know what to say. And then, later that day, I was just fucking fuming about it and thinking of all the things I should have said to her. But sometimes you're just not ready in the moment.
No, dude, that's the worst when you fucking think of all the the great things you could have said in the moment.
Yeah.
And you let the moment pass. Dude, yeah, what the fuck is wrong with some people? They'll walk around after you probably thought it was 1,000 different other things. That was probably the last thing you thought this lady was gonna ask to come clear the branch out.
I was like, what? Like, what? The homeowners association doesn't do shit. But so then I was going down. I was helping the neighbor down the street. Her fence went down in a couple spots, and I was helping her repair it. And this guy, I started talking to this older gentleman down the road. His name's Jerry, and he starts talking about the president of the homeowners association.
What?
And yeah, and he said he used to be the president, and this lady was the treasurer, and she was stuffing her pockets a little bit.
The plot thickens.
All this happened over the weekend, and he starts telling me, he's like, you know what? He's like, we need some young blood in the. He's an older black gentleman too, So he said, that's how he talks. He said, we need some young blood in the organization. He's like, if you run for president, I will have your back. I'll vote for you.
Well, hell yeah, man. So for the people upcoming, I think we got a good number of some interesting guests that you guys will be looking forward to hearing from. So what do you say, Dave? Who we got coming?
Yeah, so I know one really good friend of mine that you've met him as well, and we're excited to have. But he's our inside man right now that we have working at Google, and he's also working for us, just off the books.
That's
But,
right.
we're gonna have him on and see if we can examine Nick's Google search history a little bit.
That'll be on the Patreon because I can't be out there for the public.
Yeah, we might get demonetized before we're even monetized.
Exactly.
We dig too deep.
Yeah, it'll be a couple clicks in.
Yeah, but with that too, well, after that too, I'm trying to right now. we want to have my sister on the podcast. Her occupation is working hand in hand with the stork to deliver babies. And that's a crazy life. And
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
that'll be really interesting, especially with us, just recently having babies, and a lot of our friends, are in that process as well. So I think that'll be a really cool episode to dive into. But that'll be a bit later on, maybe a couple months out in the charts. But we've got a lot in between. Those are just two that come to mind.
Yeah.
I know
Also,
you've got some people you want to introduce me to, or just maybe people I've met, but also want to get to know better and hear their story.
yeah, I mean, I'm hoping and planning that I know for sure we'll have my dad as one of the guests, and I know for the people out there, you might say, well, someone's dad's not the most interesting guest, but I can promise this man has been across this entire country, done a lot of different things, seen a lot of things that nobody has had, and has a really, really good story and a very interesting life to share with people. And I think that a lot of people will get some good stuff out of that. I think my cousin, hopefully, I got to talk to him about it. I'm sure that he would be down to do it, but we're going to get him on. He used to be a sweeper for the Army back in the height of the war. So I know he's got a couple good stories that he wants to share and talk about his life and how everything kind of led to where he was with all that and what he's got going on now, running a business out here after getting out and all that stuff. So we got a lot of interesting stuff in the shoot for the podcast.
Yeah, and we appreciate people that have been listening so far and leaving comments, supporting the show. It helps us a lot when people just click subscribe or click the follow button on whatever you're listening to, because it doesn't cost anything, but it helps us grow and get some of these stories out to more people, which is ultimately all we're trying to do. Preserve stories, highlight some of the people in our lives. We're going to start with a lot of military guys, that's our friend group and that's who we have access to. But like we mentioned, we have doctors coming on. We have, just family members that have done cool things, coming on. It's going to be a wide variety, and hopefully people want to stick around and keep listening because we're having a lot of fun doing it. We're just very busy and very tired, but we're not stopping this motherfucker.
No, nothing's stopping this train. And if you're out there and you've been a fan and you've been listening, shoot us an email if you have a story that you want to get out there. I mean, we'd love to meet you and shoot the shit with you and bring you into the fold, have a conversation with you, and talk about life, talk about what's going on now, talk about anything. And so that is always an option as well. Reach out to us and we'll be in contact with you.
Yeah, man, it's well said. Everyone has an interesting story, and like we talked about how people preserve these memories with pictures and things like that, but having these long-term conversations I think is invaluable to like we said, family members that are no longer with us. Like, I think how cool would it be if I could have seen a 3-hour talk of my grandpa when he was in his 30s or something. Like,
yeah,
now we have the ability to do it, so we're getting everybody on this motherfucker. Hopefully we can start doing 3 interviews a week.
That's the goal. We're going to get there, boys, so stick with us. And until next time, Nick and Dave Unplugged out.